As we all know, every year there's a theme to the Verriales. And this theme was in unfocus. And that's a difficult one to deal with, because when you start thinking of what to do, you start focusing. And that's a dilemma. So I was grappling with the idea quite a long time. I said, well, usually my work always has some kind of theme, some kind of comment that be political, that be otherwise relating to human relations and things. But occasionally I like to put that all away and just play. And when I play, I don't focus. So I made playful pieces, in a sense, without thinking of theme or anything, just kind of unfocusing on everything else. And these two pieces is what came out of it. And they have to do with balance. Of course, that's obvious, I kind of played with that. They also rock, they move. So when the viewer comes up, they may not really recognize the theme in them, but that is kind of my way of unfocus, and that's the work that comes out of it. So everybody who approaches them, they are welcome to come up with their own interpretations. Well, I mean, the art scene has not ever been easy, and deserving people kind of never get into, galleries, etc. Only the lucky few do, and that situation has not become any better since the crisis in 2007-8. I think a lot of things changed there, but I'm in a lucky situation. I can work in the studio, I can support myself, and for that you have to be very lucky. But I'm in the studio all the time. When I don't work, I sleep or eat a little bit, and then back in the studio. That is kind of life. I'm at the age where I could retire, but then you ask yourself, what should you retire from? From what you love to do? And I think I still have ideas that I need to do that will last another 2 lifetimes. So I'm still busy trying to get things done. Yeah. There was a lot of things that added up to the final decisions to move. I mean, one thing is that Trump came along. That was a big push. And I had a very hard time just to reconciling and accepting the place where American politics were. And I think, why do I live in a country where I am in such a big disagreement with the way that government functions? Why I come from another place where, okay, they disagree, but eventually they can come together. However, I lived also in the rural Illinois, and that was very much between the Trump voters. So there was not much communication. We could have nice people, but we can only talk about how quickly the grass was growing and how the weather was. If we came in on political topics, there was big disagreement. So after many years there, I decided I need to move my studio. I need to live somewhere else. And I looked around all over US, and then time passed by, years, as I didn't find the correct place. And finally, you thought I came up to an age where if I make another studio, that would probably be the last. And I think, do you want to end your days in the US? And that came the decision, no, time to get back. I look at the clock and say, 40 years, I better go home. And that was it. And plus that, I have an aging mother in Denmark, that needs to be taken care of a little. So it was, in the end, a fairly easy decision, although it came with a lot of difficulties, yeah. Also, the move was right during COVID. And containers were kind of stacked up in all ports and couldn't move on. So I had sold my house, and containers were stuck in Chicago. So I was basically homeless for a while, but eventually got the whole lot moved over. In some senses, yeah, because I pretty much kind of gave up the U.S. galleries I've been working with. I said, I'm going to concentrate on Europe, however hard that is in the media, like glass and the way I'm working. But that was kind of the decision I made. And so in the U.S., you can really make large-scale sculpture, and the American collectors, they have houses big enough to display those. That's not the case in Europe. So for that reason, you have to scale down a little bit. But otherwise, the contents and the way I'm working, not so much, other than when you kind of free yourself sometimes from the galleries who, whenever they find a sellable thing, they want more. I'm not one to stand still in one place. I need to move to something else. And I have that freedom to do that now because nobody is kind of craving a special piece or so. So I feel freer in my expression, yes. In Denmark and rest of Europe, gallery doors aren't just open, say, come on in, you know, we want you. They're closed, you have to break them down. And I've only been back in Denmark for about 2.5 years, and that's not enough time to really break through when you're pretty much unknown. And in the media of glass. So a lot of the work I've brought with me from the US, it's in a container. And right now I'm exhibiting a few places for censored exhibitions, museums, but most of the work is still in a container until I find a venue I can finally start exhibiting it again, yeah. But it takes a little time. I mean, one thing, I have a business card, and on that card it doesn't say glass artist, it says artist, and that is how I want to be perceived, although my chosen material is glass. I like challenges, and that's what glass gives you. For viewers, I like to sometimes shake the viewer up a little bit. Not just, there's so much glass that satisfies the niceness and the beauty and stuff, and that is fine. But in my work, I like to shake things up a little bit, like with the last Verriales, I showed the boots, which is kind of a comment very much on clothing and the nails through the boot. Not everybody was comfortable with that, but the piece has to be more than just an object to look at. It has to bring out some more thoughts, and that's usually how I start with every work, yeah. Well, I can say I've always worked alone. Usually when you see in glass blowing shop, I started out as a glass blower and was blowing for many years actually. And blowing glass, you need to be a team. Certainly if you want to do more than just little goblets. And also many others in casting, they may have assistant stuff. I like to work completely alone in my studio with own thoughts. You don't have to be in conversations with anybody. And also if you have an assistant, very often if you tell them to do something, they do it. And you don't get that chance in the very last minute to say, no, actually I'm going to do something a little different. So I like to be able to change my decisions as the process moves on. So I'm comfortable just being by myself in a studio with a closed sign on the outside.